Hello for the first timer, welcome back. Whichever one applies to you, that's the intro I want you to use for this video. Alright, we are back with another issue of DC And this fight is Cyborg versus Swamp Thing. This is coming out of Titans number 30. Now round 4 is action-packed, so let's just jump into it.
Round 1, fight!
And this starts off with Cyborg saying, in the superhero line of work, you don't always fight villains. Sometimes you have to fight your friends. You know, sometimes they're mind controlled, sometimes they're being manipulated, but the point is, superheroes fight superheroes sometimes. It happens. And so you pull your punches, maybe a little, maybe a lot, but there's always an awareness of who you're fighting. That ultimately you're on the same side and fighting for the same thing, but not when the stakes are this high. Not when the winner can literally reshape reality in their own image. And Swamp Thing saying, for my part, Cyborg, I'm sorry this had to end this way. And Cyborg's like, yeah, me and you both. Because Cyborg is about to hit Swamp Thing with everything that he's got. I counter him with fire, sonic cannons, and a blast of ultraviolet sea light powerful enough to kill every bit of plant life from Seattle to San Diego. Which obviously results in a on Swamp Thing. Round 1 goes to Cyborg.
Fatality.
Yeah, this one's quick. So if you've been keeping up with DCKO, you'll know that after round 1, during round 2 and 3, they're actually able to change their form. And what that means is they could pick a different version of themselves from the comics. Sometimes even in this shot, you see a version of Cyborg from the Teen Titans show. So, I mean, it's all kinds of different forms that are supposed to give you a power boost. That's the idea. But Cyborg is saying here that, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He doesn't need a power boost. He's just going to go in and do the same thing and knock this out real quick. But he is quickly surprised because Swamp Thing did choose a new form.
Round 2, fight!
Round 2 opens up here with this red form of Swamp Thing that I've never seen before, and Cyborg is starting to say, hey, you know, no hard feelings about the beatdown that I gave you, you know, right, Levi? Or am I talking to Alec Holland? Which Swamp Thing am I dealing with? And Swamp Thing is stoic as ever. I am Swamp Thing. That is all you need to know. And he starts shooting all these spores and these thorns at Cyborg, and Cyborg's ducking them, and he's saying, you know, nice try. Do you really think that the cybernetic machine man equipped with a freaking mother box is going to be bothered by a few toxic plant farts? And then he shoots this gigantic gun straight through Swamp Thing, but Swamp Thing immediately reforms. He starts talking and he's like, yeah, but for all your mechanical advancements, you're still just a man. And then he turns into a giant Venus flytrap and basically eats Cyborg. And now Cyborg's inside of his mouth, but talking to his face. And Cyborg notices that all of this stuff that he's saying, machines break down, humans die, it seems like he's just distracting him and he shouldn't have been listening, because at that moment, all of these digestive fluids enter in and just dissolve him completely. Second round goes to Swamp Thing because that is a yeah.
Fatality.
And now we do have to cut over to find out what the rest of the Titans are doing. So this little interlude happens with the Justice League Lunar Evacuation Command Center, where they're talking and trying to figure out where John Kent Superman is. And he's saying that he just wrapped things up in Star City and he's about to head back. And for a second, they're like, we? Who's we? And that's because Leanne is with him. And her dad is actually mostly pissed off because of what's happening with Cheshire and Cheetah robbed the Justice League. He's mad that she's even involved with all of this. But now she kind of hits him with something. Did you ask Green Arrow for permission before you got with the Titans? And he's like, damn it, I didn't ask for permission. So how could I tell you that you can't go out?
Final round. Fight!
And now we cut back to the final round, and Cyborg has finally upgraded his suit to this gigantic, like, mech form. And Swamp Thing is kind of taunting him, and he's saying, is that supposed to protect you this time? Because I don't have to pick one form or fight you one-on-one. I am Legion. And he just splits into what looks like dozens, hundreds of himself, and he just starts attacking Cyborg all at once. But Cyborg's got something up his sleeve too. Well, in his armor. Because when all these different horrific looking forms of Swamp Thing start to descend on him and say, you are just one man, he says, that's where you're wrong, and he starts to rocket up into the sky. Because Cyborg's form is actually called the Titanic form, Titanic form. Do you get it? Do you get it? It shoots star bolts. Huh? Shadow magic, arrows, escrima sticks. It's also equipped with razor sharp claws. It also has unbreakable bonds. That's right. In this form, Cyborg can channel all of the Titans' power, and that's what he's saying to him. Whether the Titans are dead or alive, I fight for them and I carry them with me. I'll never give up. And then that's when Swamp Thing says, good. And he's like, what? And he goes, promise me, when it's time to fight Darkseid, you do it with every bit of ingenuity, heart, and perseverance that you did here with me. Promise me, and then do it. And in that moment, Cyborg says, I promise, thank you, and eviscerates Swamp Thing.
Fatality.
Third round goes to Cyborg, and Cyborg, he's gonna prepare for the next battle, but he doesn't feel good about this win. I don't know if anybody has really felt good about any of these wins. But this cuts back over to the Watchtower, because as we saw, World Forger had just been taken down by Booster Gold, who has been possessed by Darkseid. And in this form, he's gonna try to accelerate the transformation of Earth into New Apocalypse, but there's a voice behind him saying, no, Darkseid, you're not gonna do that. Not while Grodd has the power to stop you, and that's when Gorilla Grodd chokes him up. Now we cut back over to the moon base, where we have to inevitably split up the team because there's going to be another tie-in book called DCKO, The Kids Are All Fight Special, and that's gonna continue John and Leon's story, which is why we gotta get Donna and Red Arrow through the portal. And Donna even points out that this is something that the other two could have handled. But Roy is saying here, I didn't want her to handle it because I don't want to lose the world and my daughter. So they've come here to respond to a distress call, and they're going to realize in just a second that they shouldn't have sent the kids anyway, because a voice from off panel says, fools, there are no evacuees. The only ones in distress are you heroes. And before they can even react, they are immediately blasted to the ground by Grail, the daughter of Darkseid. My father is coming soon, and I won't allow anything or anyone to get in his way. Holy smokes. That's gonna do it for Cyborg versus Swamp Thing. Cyborg came out on top. Our next fight is gonna be Harley Quinn versus Zatanna. But until then, drink some water, do something kind, and I'll see you next time. Peace.